I call to order this regular session of Mayor and City Council meeting, 6 p.m., Tuesday, January 12, 2016, here at City Hall Council Chambers. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you please remain standing while we have Pastor David Cañada from First Baptist Church come and give us the invocation. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, one and all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Scripture tells us, if any of you, us, lacks wisdom, let him or her ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him or her. But let that person ask in faith, with no doubting, for he who doubts is like the wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. Let not that person suppose that he or she will receive anything from the Lord apart from faith. Let's pray. Lord, you've given us a new year, and with that comes great opportunity, great responsibility, sometimes great baggage. Lord, cleanse our hearts and minds that we might serve you as men and women with integrity and composure and true faith, not just in humanity or systems or parties, but in you. Thank you for granting us the opportunity to ask, and we do trust you and love you. So we ask boldly and with deep faith that you would grant this council, this mayor, this city, our country, even our president as he speaks tonight, wisdom from you, that we might all better serve and follow you and love you with all our hearts and strength, and love those who you've put under our responsibility, that we would accomplish your will and purposes now and throughout this year and until you call us home. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Canal, for the invocation. We will now, I guess we don't have any calls to the public today.
No, sir. I've never seen it.
So let's give a call to the public. We have some presentations. Line 5, number 1, and it's for the presentation of flags to Parade of Lights winner for our Christmas parade.
Yay!
Yes, it was a great honor. It was a great parade this year. There was a beautiful spirit out there, and we're so grateful and thankful for our place winners that went out of their way to make their floats so beautiful and kind of pleasing all the crowd. But again, we thank everyone that participated, because all in all, it was a great parade. But since they selected, we had judges, and they selected the top 3. Well, I'd like to come over here and call to the front. We usually start with our City of Nogales Holiday Light Parade, the Joy of Christmas. The best of parade, 3rd place, Alex Tires Pros. Thank you, and Alex and the whole staff, everybody that pitched in. We have your trophy, I guess, your flag and award. And again, congratulate everybody at Alex Tires for us. Thank you very much. And we go to our next award, again, City of Nogales Holiday Light Parade, the Joy of Christmas. Best of Parade for 2nd place, Francisco Vasquez de Coronado Elementary. Congratulations. Congratulations. And again, we thank Francisco Coronado, and not only for the great float, but also for that spirit of the schools that you represent. Thank you very much, and here's your 2nd place award. Congratulations again. congratulate the whole school for us, and thank you all for doing such a great job. Thank you very much. And we come to the City of Nogales Holiday Light Parade, the Joy of Christmas, Best of Parade for first place. I believe they, if I'm not mistaken, was that also last year?
I'm not sure.
Last year, third place.
Third place last year.
Yeah.
Oh, see, there you go. Now that's why I call a competitive spirit. Yeah, you guys came in third last year, and now we congratulate Denny's for first place. We become Great job. Yeah, there you go, show. And again, you know, this is what it is, third place in 1 year, following year, first place. Maybe Francisco Coronado will be up for first place next year. Thank you again. Thank you very much for bringing such joy to our Christmas parade. God bless you. Oh, this is the fun part of our meetings when we have presentations like this to make. It's always an honor to have our citizens in our community be involved and show such pride in the work and bringing Nogales up, because there's a lot of people that come from outside of the community to watch the parade. Thank you all again for bringing the best out of the parade and getting these awards. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have next on I guess discussion items, item 6, and oh, there we go, number 1. Discussion and possible action on the selection of vice mayor. I guess, you know, last year our vice mayor had said that he only wanted to serve for a while, but I'll tell you what, I can't accept that resignation. Everybody, not only in the community, but in the state, have told you what a great job you've done for Nogales. I ask that you reconsider and continue as our vice mayor. As a matter of fact, if you'll accept, I'll make a motion that you continue as our vice mayor.
And I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Congratulations. Continue the great work you're doing. Thank you. You're doing a great job.
Tears of joy.
And on I guess line 2, we have discussion and possible action regarding the management and consultant proposals to conduct an executive recruitment for the city's next city manager under the direction of the city council. You know, what I noticed is that I think we actually were thinking more on just getting the general direction, but I believe last time it was Councilman Diaz that said we probably needed more of maybe a study session, not just jump at the first firm, and maybe discuss, you know, aside from the pool that a firm brings, do we have anybody locally from within the state or even the community? So I don't know if you still want to continue or leave this for a future day, or continue, first have a study session and then take it from there. But if we have a motion, I would make a motion that we table it and have a further discussion on the study session.
I'll second your motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Discussion, when we were talking about this, wasn't there supposed to be a firm that was gonna help us along with the process? We were gonna get an estimate to see what.
No,
what
yes, the estimate is there, and that's what, that's why, you know, we're talking in the high 20s, close to 30, and I think maybe we can fare better, at least give us the opportunity to discuss this, and that's the reason that I think maybe a study session would help us. But we can use this as a guideline, and that way now we know what we're looking at as far as cost goes to get a firm.
And we could probably pave a street with those 20 or 30, a small street.
You're right. So that's, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, also they give a lot of references, so I think it gives us opportunity to do some fact checking
I think
and
that's.
see, which communities had good experiences or bad experiences with the firms, and then maybe when we do have a study session, we can sort of, discuss all that, share our feedback on what we received, and maybe we can then select one or two and maybe interview them and bring them in and ask them the hard questions and then make a decision or not.
Right. So I think it gives us a good guideline for us to have that study session. So all those in favor by tabling this proposal signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, proposal to. We also have on line 3, discussion and possible action on Balaludo Country Club lease agreement. Councilman Parada, you put that there?
Yes, I did, Mayor, thank you. Yes, I see that the occupant at one time had removed a lot of equipment from there. I thought we want to keep an eye on what inventory we had on the building itself. And now I see that it's a bunch of items that are not there anymore, and it's got a good total on it, I mean, either we go after those items or go after the cost, the total amount that he owes. Because he owes, they owe the rent, and the credits, standing water bill that he owes, so it owes about $133,996. So I think we ought to, don't let nothing slip through our cracks here, through our grounds. I think we ought to pursue it legally, with legal, giving us an input to continue the process, to try to get the recovery that has been taken out, or to pay what he's owed.
Okay, okay, before, I guess we put this into a motion, there's one thing that happened that was unforeseen. And I remember I mentioned to Mr. Kissinger if they were gonna vacate the building and they did, they turned it in, but he went to check the building. One of the things, I guess, or they reported to you that there was a flooding issue. The lines, when that cold spell hit, one of the lines froze and did a lot of damage, and they have to clean up and remove a lot of things. So we're gonna have to figure out what was removed from the water damage and what was taken, I guess. That's what I understood, but we never got to cover that. Do you have any new information on that, Mr. Goodman?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, so the sprinkler system water line broke in the freeze. We couldn't shut that down. We shut down the water once it was unoccupied, but we couldn't shut down the sprinkler system. Unfortunately, a pipe froze, it broke. The only thing that was removed from the building was carpet that got all soaked. There's some small damage to some of the sheetrock and stuff in that back room, but other than that, it's not too bad. So the entire carpet was taken out of the facility there, but it was the carpet that was there prior to the people taking the lease anyway. So for lack of a better term, it's pretty old carpet.
Okay. It was a new carpet then?
No, sir, and then subsequently from them turning in the keys to the lease, I believe we did an inventory on what equipment was there, and we matched that up to the equipment that they were supposed to install for part of the lease, and that's all been turned over to our city attorney to go forward.
So, is that pretty much along the lines of the requesting?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
Do you still want to go with this proposal? And then I guess we'll go ahead and so we have a motion then on
Yeah, I would like the motion to be to authorize any necessary action or litigation for the collection of the amounts due on that lease. And that'll give me.
You want to reinstate the
To follow the regulation and go after what's in this list.
okay.
So moved.
So moved. Okay. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carried. We have number 4, discussion of upcoming 4th of July events. Councilman Rojas.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I put this agenda item on because I believe last year was more or less around this time that we started discussions on that. One of the things that I would like to bring up is I would like to get involved a little bit more on that particular event, if I may. I know that there are some things that I want to discuss with Mr. Bachelier in the very near future before I bring further discussion before the mayor and the council.
Let me ask a question from legal. Is it okay if a council member would be appointed as the chairman of a project like the 4th of July?
Well, he can be appointed as the chairman of the committee and so on, as long as it's part of the committee. But as long as you're not giving orders to any of the staff or so on and forth. But yeah, I mean, it's been done in the past where the council participates in the committee recommendations and so on.
And I believe, Mayor, I basically did participate in the previous 4th of July. I wasn't as active, but, and I don't think I was ordering anybody around, was I, myself? So I think I understand my position.
I would appreciate that. I know Marcel had something to do last 4th of July, and when we walked up to it, there was a little confusion, I guess. They needed your guidance at the time. Not that I wanted to give orders, but we kind of had to take the lead, and because some of the people didn't know what they were doing, especially on stage. They didn't know who was up, how long, and I kind of had to get help from certain people there, and one of the ones that jumped up and was very helpful was Chino Gomez. He's not here right now, but you know, there was a few things that didn't go quite as well, but all in all, we were able to correct them right there and then, and at the end of it, it was a success. But we're hoping that we don't encounter those things, and maybe with your guidance and direction, with the experience you got last year, you'll be able to kind of keep us ahead of the curve.
Ken, would love to do that, man.
So we have a motion, and do we have a motion? Would somebody like to make a motion to recommend?
I move that Councilman Rojas serve on the 4th of July committee and report back to council on progress as the committee moves forward.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, motion carried.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
And now we go to our favorite, our consent agenda. Mostly it's the minutes of all the sessions that we had on November 18th, December 2nd, December 9th, special sessions, and also December 22nd. And it's for the minutes of those sessions. And so we have, I guess, you're all aware of the other three that we have, F, G, and H. So do I have a motion to accept and approve? And we have
For discussion,
And-
I would like the others to hear the G and H.
Okay,
of the grants, so they know what.
we'll go to G and H, because we'll consider the other ones are already an approval, and on item G.
Well, approve the motion on items A to E.
Okay.
And then.
And then we'll go
And then
with-
F, G, and H were taken off for discussions.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve item A through E?
So moved.
Okay, I guess any more discussion? No, ain't no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carried. And now we'll go to number F, or letter F. Consideration and possible action of order 2016-01-002, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing a marketing license agreement with Arizona Utility Service Partners, Private Label Incorporation, DBA Service Line Warranties of America. I think we discussed that once before. Is this a follow-up on it, or is this the, were we gonna give any more discussion, or just approve it?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this was the presentation that was done by the Leagues of Cities and Towns on the warranty on the utility lines.
$20 a month.
Right, and 50 cents per customer that would come as towards the city. It appeared that the entire council was okay with that program. We got good head nods from everybody. So this is just formal, getting that contract signed, so we can move forward for their first campaign. And so since I saw that the entire council was for it, or it seemed like they were approving of it, that's why I put it on the consent agenda. But that's what it is.
That's fine. Just for clarification, for the general public, it's nothing that we're trying to push on anyone. It's
Strictly voluntary.
It's a voluntary service. To me, I thought it was a good service. I'm gonna take part in it.
Absolutely.
But then again, nobody in any way, shape, or form has to support it or be part of it.
Correct.
And nothing will be charged extra unless they wanna buy that insurance to have that protection. That's a very good protection, considering that we have plumbers that will charge you $500 to $1,000 just to go and take care of maybe an outside line.
And very reasonable pricing, Mr. Mayor. So if the council would approve that, we would sign off on that agreement, ship it back, and then they would start their campaign for letting people know how they can.
And there's no obligation on the city's part.
That's a good thing.
All we're doing is allowing us to be a pass-through sponsor of this and allowing it to be an available option for our residents.
Right. And again, the city, the towns and leagues are the ones that are kind of putting
It
their.
originated with the National League of Cities and Towns and then has been kind of broadcast across the country that way through state associations. And we heard of it through the Arizona League of Cities and Towns. And we presented it to you, what, a month or two ago? And
Correct.
And we have it in front of you as formal action, and we can roll it out to the public.
So it has the stamp of approval.
Absolutely. So staff recommendation to mayor and council is to approve the contract, sir.
Well, do we have a
So moved.
motion?
Second.
So moved, Mayor.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, motion carried. We're down to letter G, consideration and possible action of order 2016-01-003. In order to the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving a sub-grantee agreement, number 150418-01 with the Arizona Department of Homeland Security for a stone garden grant in the amount of $800,000 in reimbursable overtime and mileage.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, in years past, the council has often taken care of items like G and H in one vote because they're both stone garden related. Every year, we make application to the Arizona Department of Homeland Security to participate in the stone garden program. These numbers seem to be relatively in line with what we've done in years past, and it's based off of the command staff's projections on what our availability to participate will be over the course of the year. There have been in past years issues with reportability between the city of Nogales and the Department of Homeland Security. Command staff and PD has been working very closely with our finance department and making sure that we're timely in our request for reimbursement, which is very important because the way this program works is our officers participate, they get paid off of the city resources, and then we seek reimbursement from the Department of Homeland Security. So being timely in those requests for reimbursement is very important to the general fund, which fronts the bill. So I have assurances from command staff and our finance department that communication link is strong and that we are making sure that we are timely in our request for reimbursement. In years past, this has been kind of a routine thing, which is why it was located in the consent portion of the agenda tonight. I'm glad you pulled it for discussion. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and I know command staff is here as well to field questions if you have any.
Well, I think you've given us quite a bit of information on that, and we'll make a motion to cover G and H. Do we have
So moved.
approval for G and H? Okay, any other discussion?
Okay, that's, the reason I brought it up, it's good that the residents know about these grants, so they're not, when they see a police car out there in Rio Rico, they think they were doing it on their own, or even out there, they're not working, so that they realize that they can patrol the area under the stone garden. So that, you know, it's good that the people
That's a
know
good
about it,
point.
to be very informed of what it's all about.
Yes, and it's really paid, from the fund, it's like a grant from the federal government then?
It is passed through the state's Department of Homeland Security.
Homeland Security. Okay. So that saves the city some money and gives us higher visibility in the community, in the whole area, and hopefully discourages anybody from doing any illegal activity within our community, or the boundaries of it. Because, you know, that's good. So, so we have a motion then, and any more discussion? Being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye to approve.
Aye.
Motion approved. Motion carried. Now we go to item 8 of orders. And again, I believe well, maybe I've spoken about it, but I'll go ahead and it's a consideration and possible action of order 2016-01-005. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion?
I have some discussion.
Yes, go ahead, Councilman Parra.
You know, I'm very leery about the change orders. You know, you might have a lower bid, and as soon as you get all the change orders put together, probably I want to be the highest bidder. You know, I'm very cautious about those change orders in any contract. You know, because they leave some section out, and then later on they come out and say, change order for another $8,000 to complete the project. So that, you know, you gotta be aware of those things, how to work the contracts.
Have we had past experience with KMG?
Oh, we have, and, you know, the fact of the matter is in this type of business, particularly on a project like this, where you're taking utilities from the back side of the house and moving it to the front side of the house, where then you have to match up with existing plumbing and infrastructure on that private property. There's a lot of unknowns that you run into. We anticipated going into this project, didn't matter what company that we were gonna go with, and when we do get these bids, we look and we make sure that it's an apple-to-apple comparison between those bids. But sometimes these projects get pretty complicated, and there's a lot of unforeseens that can happen. You know, I think about the Morley project when we put that water line down. What were we gonna find under that ground after almost 90 years, right? So we're pretty pleased with this type of change order on this item. But if you want specific details on what the change orders are for, we have staff that can field those questions.
And one of the questions that I have is from these construction companies, can we put a ceiling of, say, that they don't go beyond 25% of the original cost, or whatever is feasible?
I've seen those kind of stipulations in contracts. What they end up doing though is they end up inflating their original bid, because they then assume the risk. And so one way or another, the contractors are gonna get compensated for the work that they do. We would rather as staff deal with a discussion on every change order, to be able to challenge it and say, hey, what's this about and why, and instead of dealing with the fact that they inflate their original bid, and it's hard for us to really kind of have the dialogue in terms of what it's for and does it really make sense. So this particular process seems to be working.
And this is additional work, so this work that they performed was not included in the original bid. So instead of going out to bid all over again just for this 2 homes, that's why it looks like a change. Well, it's worded a change order, but it's additional work added.
It's a value added.
Correct.
It's a value added change order is what they call it.
I experienced twice in the courthouse, in the Santa Rita church. I was in the committee to build the church. And I didn't want the less payment to be given up. I wanted to hold on and see what happened after the first rain. But they paid him off anyway. And the first one we got, it looked like Niagara Falls inside the church. You know, so, and we did with the courthouse, we had the same problem. They're coming like every meeting for a change order, put it together, they were the highest bid.
And we often have retainers built into our contracts so that they have to finish the punch list before they get their final payment. I don't know if that's the case in this contract, but that's not uncommon for us.
Councilman Lopez?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I was gonna say, is the 5,424 then reasonable according to staff?
Staff feels that it is and is recommending as a value-added addition to this project, approval from council.
So, Mayor, I so move that we approve this.
Okay.
Second.
Second? All right, you have a first and second, any more discussion?
I just have one question. Once we approve this changeover, that's it, right? Because it says total will be 55,023. So once this is approved, it's done, that's it? Okay. No more changeovers.
No, they're done.
Okay.
There's some more.
Okay.
Okay, so, all those in favor of approving this order signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carried. We have, number 2, consideration and possible action of order 2016-01-006. And that's again, I guess, you wanna probably have maybe staff give a few comments on that?
Several months ago, you approved a contract with Innova to replace 11 meters.
Valves.
What's that?
Valves.
I'm sorry, valves. 11 valves. I had the number right, but anyway. 11 valves. We've identified as staff a number of valves throughout our system that are faulty. They're not working. These valves are important so that we can isolate leaks in the system and do so with minimal casualty or disruption to the people we serve, our public. When these valves become inoperable, it forces staff to have to go to a much broader area to isolate, which means it affects more people. So staff is trying to, as our budget allows, take care of getting these valves repaired. And several months ago, you approved a contract with Innova in the amount of $84,000 roughly to do 11 valves. Some additional bond money came available. And so staff went back out to bid thinking that we might be able to get more valves done with the money that we have. It ended up being Innova coming in as the low bidder, but so if you take 84,000 and you divide it by 11, each valve replacement is just a little over $7,000 a valve. Okay? They ended up coming in for a bid of 23 valves, so twice as many valves, but only for $32,000 more. So if you take the total, which would be $116,000, and you divide it by 23 valves now, you come up with just slightly over $5,000 a valve. So it's a much better deal for us, and we get more valves taken care of. Roughly a third of the problem dealt with in this round. And so they're putting this change order, staff's putting this change order in front of you for hopeful action in the affirmative, so that we can move forward with Innova and get these valves replaced.
Make the motion to approve.
Yes, okay. Well, do we want to open it, save it for discussion? Or?
Yeah, discussion.
For discussion, okay. So, again, we have a motion to approve in a second.
Yes.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I got a motion from Mr. Diaz, but not a second.
Yes, Councilman Lopez was giving
Thank
a
you.
second. And now we're open for discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I have no problem with the explanation provided, but I guess the question I have is why wasn't any of that information provided in the backup material?
Yeah. It's a good question. This was a latecomer to the agenda, my apologies. But I figured I needed to give you guys that kind of backup, just so you knew what was happening. Are you looking at the latest version of this? Are you looking at the staff summary report?
No, all I have is the original, I guess, council action.
My math is probably what you're
alluding to was absent of the staff report, which is an observation, and it's duly noted that we can do better to beef up these reports for council, and we'll take note of that.
All I have is the original order that was provided back in October. I don't have anything else.
And the original order was 11?
This is number 6, right?
8-2.
I have it right here, Vice Mayor, I'm not quite sure.
The order's here, but I don't see a staff summary.
I have a staff summary.
All we have is the order, there's nothing else with it.
I just downloaded the email that Letty put out on this, so, okay. We'll have to look into that. I apologize, Vice Mayor.
Well, I've asked the other councilors if they have anything else, and they have just the same thing I have, it's just the order, none of the background that you talked about.
Right before the meeting started, I downloaded her email and I
I
opened
did
it.
it
so-
right when they're doing the invocation, so.
We did at the same time.
Mr. Diaz has the staff summary, I guess.
Mr. Diaz, you have it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
He's the one that has a super iPad.
Their speed must be quicker. All right, I just didn't have any.
We'll look into that, make sure that it's not a glitch on the system.
But you covered it pretty well,
I tried to. Yeah.
and what it is, it seems like we're getting a saving of $2,000.
As I said, I had no problem with the report, it's just that I.
That you didn't have the information, but I guess that's another thing we'll let,
IT needs to look.
Yeah.
So, but is there any more discussion on, I guess number 2, that, no? Seeing no further discussion, then we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor of approving, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Motion carried. And I think it'll be a good savings for the city, especially for our residents. I think, when with the valves we have now, one gives out in an area, say a neighborhood, and instead of having maybe a dozen homes affected by it, we might have 30, 40 homes affected by it because those valves are faulty and we can't close the water line, so we have to close further down the line, and it affects more residents. So this will really help the community to have those valves installed. So thank you very much for bringing that up. Again, we have number 3, consideration and possible action of order 2016-01-007, and this is, I guess, I'll read it in case somebody doesn't have the information. On order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to transfer funds from the General Contingency Fund to the Public Works Facilities Fund in the amount not to exceed $10,000 for the replacement of the roof at the Senior Center building.
So moved, Mayor.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion to approve. Any discussion? Being no discussion? Well, no?
They
Well,
doing it just in time before they
Well,
get into the contract, yeah.
well, not only that, the monsoon or the winter, the El Nino is coming around, so.
Mr. Mayor, this isn't a proactive move on our part, it's a reactive move. The senior center last week, with all the rain that we got, the condition of that roof wasn't adequate to meet the demand placed on it. As a consequence, the leak ended up compromising the interior ceiling of the
It gets more
of the
costly.
building. It's just something that needs to happen. It's being presented to you tonight as kind of an emergency item with the use of our general fund contingency as a source of funding.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So, do we have a motion to approve? Did, sir?
Do we have a second?
No, you got him, Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Now we come down to our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I did decide this go-around to make my report in writing to you, just so that you had it as a way of reference in the future. And if we get into these situations where your meeting goes 3 or 4 hours, right, you have the option of just saying, hey, thanks for the report, I'll read it, and we're good to go. I'll ask questions later. But tonight, I'll just go quickly through it, and then it's available for your reference. Our High West Pressure Zone, the project that we have a multiple source of funding, Arizona Corporation Commission and WIFA, is all but complete. All the supportive infrastructure has been put into place. The tank is almost finished. They have to do some painting of the tank before it's finalized. But I just want to let you know we're down the road quite a ways, and that tank should be operational here pretty soon. Pavement preservation efforts. The city crews this week are going to begin crack sealing. This is the optimal time of year to do that. When the weather gets cold, the cracks expand, and it's a great time to put that crack seal in there in preparation for the summer to hit us in the warmer weather. You all received in your boxes today, and I think even electronically, a list of streets that we anticipate to take care of during the month of January. So if you have any questions, let us know, but just to give you an idea of where the crews are going to be out serving the public that way. And I just wanted to bring you up to speed, and I know Councilwoman Lopez is in a far better position to give you the details on this, but there is an effort to readdress the sisterhood agreement between Nogales, Sonora and the city of Nogales, Arizona. That effort is being led through the offices, the mayor's office and Presidente Municipal Galindo. They have each designated an elected representative to kind of spearhead that effort. Mayor Doyle, you appointed Councilwoman Lopez to do that. She's periodically coming in and giving me updates. I have asked Aaron White to be with her as kind of staff support, because there's a big component of this dealing with economic development, sports venues and things like that. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that there is a date set aside of February 3rd where there is going to be a signing of a new sisterhood agreement. And really what the new is they're introducing an addendum to that document that would create 4 different commissions, and those commissions cover areas of, economic development, arts and culture, sports and entertainment, and health. And so, I just wanted to make sure that was on your radar and on your calendar. And I know that there will be more information coming your way as we get closer to that date, with a schedule and a venue throughout the course of the day. I know it's not just going to be a one single event, and you'll get invitations to participate at all those levels. Also wanted to let you know that for the second year in a row, we are going to have timely audits completed. Our city auditor has informed us that the audits, both the city audit and the EBT audit, will be, the audit reports will be received by the end of January. And I think that's quite an accomplishment both for our auditor and for staff in terms of getting that done in a timely fashion. If you don't get it done, then that's an audit finding, and so we're absent that finding this year, thank goodness. And then the second to the last thing I want to bring to your attention is there's been a lot of dialogue about a relocation of the Rio Rico Library branch. Currently it's over there in the IGA grocery store center on the west side of I-19. When the county purchased the building on the west side or on the east side of I-19 and put their public works services there, they identified an area, a room and an area in that building to house the Rio Rico branch library. That conversation has been ongoing, but they have tentatively set the week of the 1st of March, that week aside as the week they would actually move and relocate the library over there. So for that week, the library in Rio Rico would get shut down, and the move would happen, and then it would get opened back up. And so I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that that's coming down the pipe. And that's the week that the county is kind of set aside. Now, the county has, this is at their request. They're paying the rent over there at the building that is currently housing the library operations. And this would be probably a budget saver for them. Since it's their request, we've asked them to front a lot of the labor to make that move happen. Our librarian, Suzanne Haddock, has been very active in communicating where things need to be, and her staff are preparing to make that move by getting themselves organized on the receiving end. The last thing that I wanted to bring to your attention, and just kind of a shout out for Nogales, the Arizona Association of Economic Development every once in a while do these luncheons. And in the southeast region, there's a luncheon scheduled for January 27th. Mr. White had been asked to participate as a speaker on one of those panels. And again, I'm sure he's going to put Nogales in the best of light, and it goes to support all of us in our efforts to keep our names and our location on the forefront of the minds of people who engage in economic development and look for places to live, work, and play. So I wanted to bring that up and thank Aaron for being a good representative for us.
Thank you for that. And a couple of things that that I picked up on, and give that high risk pressure zone is so important, and I'm glad to see the progress on that. It affects the hospital and all that area up there, new business, and I guess that redundancy line really brings up the pressure for safety. I think for the fire department, that they'll have the adequate pressure to put out any large fire that might come about in that area. So that's a very important project, and we're glad to see that it's finally reaching, how would we say, the end of the light at the end of the tunnel.
And it opens the door for development in that area that was lacking that pressure.
So that's what people look at, that's what developers look at, and I think we're making Nogales look good for future investment, and that's what we want. And at the same time, again, working together with ambos Nogales working together, Nogales, Sonora, and Mexico, Sonora, and Arizona. I wasn't there for that meeting because I went to the state of the state address in Phoenix from the governor, and it was very encouraging to hear the numbers. When he took over last year, there were $1 billion in the hole, and now they're not only out of the hole, but there you go, they got money. And so he also mentioned how he's going to invest some of it wisely back into the school system. So he had to hold the reins last year because of the big debt that was there. It wasn't his intention to cut back in the schools or anything, but instead, working wisely throughout the year, they were able to turn over that $1 billion debt, and now they have money to invest in the future. Not only of our kids, but he named quite a few things, and so it was very encouraging. But while I was over there, I heard there was kind of like an emergency that came out. It was a little, not a newborn. I think there was a baby that was born, and I think we leaving. And I was over there at UMC, the Ministry Medical Center, and apparently the child was like 5.5 months old. He had been under the emergency ward there, where they have it was a premature baby that had been born. They kept it there for almost, 4.5 months or 5 months. But because the parents were from Mexico, even though the child over the months already has, she's a citizen of this country, she has a birth certificate and everything, born here, they wanted to just ship it out to Nogales, Sonora. And they sent it in the ambulance against the wishes of the parents and grandparents that were there. and they called the Consulado Mexicano when you guys were having the meeting. I was supposed to be there, but I had to go to Phoenix. And I heard that both consular, the American consular and Mexican consulate, both got together, and I don't know if the mayor was there, but they headed down to the border, because when they got to the border, the aduana was didn't have documents that the baby was a Mexican citizen, and they wanted to transport. Not only that, they were gonna put it in an ambulance. The baby needed special condition because it was still kind of critical. It couldn't breathe on its own. I needed some kind of apparatus for breathing. And when it got here, the Mexican aduana said, no. He said, let's hold up this, we're not gonna transfer this baby over here until we know what's going on. So they had contacted the consulate. Well, they were there at the meeting. They left the meeting, I guess, and went over there. And Chris Teal, American, and Ponce Puente, Jaime Ponce Puente.
Was Alejandro.
Was Alejandro that went over there?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but they were able to get, they needed the special papers for the baby. Baby couldn't be out there just waiting out there so they sent it back to the emergency at UMC, the same ambulance. And I guess they got the paperwork in order because they sent it back into Mexico this morning, I heard. But what the parents really wanted was for it to not to go out until they had, so they had to kind of get another, they got an ambulance that had everything, that had the equipment. And they decided to move the baby all the way to Hermosillo, just so they won't take any risk of something happening to it. But I thought it was kind of cold, but I'm glad that we're working together. At least we said that my desire would have been that they wouldn't have turned the baby loose till it was healthy enough to go, to go out into a regular environment. But it was, I'm glad to see that both nations are working together, and both consulados, the American consulate and the Mexican consulate, were able to kind of, and this is what we're trying to establish here, a working relationship through this engagement of working with the consulates and working with the mayor, so that when things happen, especially in other areas that we're gonna be, and I believe there's some here, our fire department, we have 2020 that we have some councilmen that have supported that, and a lot of officials in the state have supported the 2020. And so we're trying to bring all this into play with health and issues and everything, and emergency services. And I think we have some of our firemen that are very active in that, and they work very close together with the firemen across the border, and it's established a good relationship all along the border, from Douglas to San Luis. They've been working on and having annual meetings, and it's bringing the focus of the rest of the state of Arizona, the state of Sonora. The last time the governor came down from Sonora, and we were, and she's very pleased with the work that's going along. Governor Ducey's getting involved. We've had Senator McCain's office and Senator McSally's office participate, and I guess there's a few other, maybe, I don't know if Senator Flake has been involved or no. Do you know, Cesar?
No, I don't.
No, but anyway, the thing is that the more, these programs bring both countries closer together, and Nogales is the focal point. It's Nogales that is going out there. We're involved as officials. And you've been very involved, Councilman Parada. But I guess he was a fireman, police officer for many years, and a volunteer fireman, and I guess he's to the point that he feels that he's been very involved, and I don't know if he's going to run again. He's going to be termed out this time. I don't think he's going to wait another term to run again for city councilman. But thank you for being involved in that kind of work. I know those are grueling trips sometimes that you have to take, but
You'll volunteer.
maybe yes. But again, we have Councilman Lopez that works hard also in our relationship with Mexico, and that's the kind of work we need to do to bring. And I'm glad to see that that's why I wanted you to read it, and not just or not read it, but at least kind of and because it's important that everybody know that what we do here is really creating a future for both communities. And thank you all for your effort.
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, was the savings that the governor would, he put an amount of like 328 million in savings? That's what he owed the schools for education.
Not settled yet.
Mr. Mayor,
I took him for his word.
Mr. Mayor, I just have one more point by way of a reminder to the council. Next week, the 20th, there is a scheduled study session to go over the utility CIP discussion. The consultant, Dan Jackson, who's been working very closely on the utility rate side, has been asked to take and walk us through a discussion on the capital improvement project side, which is a multi-year planning effort on capital projects for water and sewer that really present the background and the crux of the need to do these rate considerations from time to time. So please make sure that that's on your calendar. It'll be a very important discussion. Mr. Jackson will be here to walk you through the plan and bring you up to speed on that. And that's just a prelude to a discussion that will happen probably in February sometime on the rates themselves.
Mr. Dilly, at what time?
That was at 4:30,
On Wednesday?
Wednesday the 20th. Thank you.
Yes, Vice Mayor Lucero.
I just had a question on the library move. Are we putting a note on the door if people are unhappy?
To contact the supervisor.
Okay, you know, the other, I guess for future agenda items, I wouldn't understand. And one of the things I guess that I noticed here, we have the 3rd, February the 3rd. It's gonna be I guess, a grueling day. So I'm wondering, I think that's when we have the regular council meeting for February.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I that was gonna end up needing to be a point of discussion whether tonight or between now and then. Is there consideration from the council to have your council meeting a little earlier in the day, on that day? Because there are scheduled some events later that night, I think at 6 o'clock that night, across the line.
I would
So
prefer, maybe is it okay we push it for the following week? Because it's gonna be kind of a hectic
Be
day.
better to give them a chance to be here.
Yeah, that way we won't have to be, you know, our mind's gonna be on,
Mhm.
over here thinking, well,
It'd be a busy
meeting,
day.
and we're gonna
Sure.
be, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't wanna come across like, you know, we're not really interested in what's going on that day.
Sure.
So.
Push it a week.
Maybe we, should we make a motion,
You don't
just,
have
or
to.
just go ahead and?
I think we'll just agendize it that way, Mayor,
Okay.
you and I, and then, and I know that there's something being planned, that what it is escapes me right now for the 3rd week of February. So if you could just mark your calendars for a study session or a special session of sorts for that 3rd Wednesday of February, that'd be great.
What's the long weekend on February?
President's Day?
What day is that?
I believe it's the 22nd.
15.
Or is it the 15th?
21st, 22nd?
22nd?
President Day, the 15th.
15th?
Yeah, the 15th.
15th.
That would be the 3rd.
Wednesday.
Second Wednesday is the 10th.
It'd be the 3rd Wednesday that we were planning that study
It would
session.
be the 17th.
17th.
No, it'd be the 17th. We want to put the study session and the meeting together.
So anyway, just, I mean, there's plenty of time to adjust that, I just wanted to put something on your radar.
So we're looking more at the 10th, then? Is that okay with everybody? For the meeting?
Yeah.
So for the time being, we'll be looking at that.
What's your adjourn, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, yeah, we're done with future agenda items. We have a motion to.
I have a future agenda item. I want an update on the city-owned properties, and I want to discuss study session on the IGAs, on the animal control and library. Because there might become a time that we won't have to handle the whole situation ourselves, and we want to find out means and ways how we're going to do it.
Mayor, I'd also like to put on the elections.
Oh, the elections, yeah.
That's right.
We're actually going to, on that topic, and I know we can't really discuss it, but just by way of a heads up, we're gonna start as staff, we're gonna start looking at you know, RFPs type thing, put a template together on that, just so that we're prepared. Because the last thing we wanna do is get down the end of the race and realize that we're out of options. And so, just to provide council options, we're gonna be doing that concurrently with any kind of political discussion that might happen with the county on the topic of election services. Because right now, we don't have a plan B. So that is something that we're gonna have to address, and address rather quickly, because the clock's always working against us on that.
But it stands right now, they're refusing to provide election services.
The letter that we received from Carlos Rivera in representing the county was that they gave us due notice, and I'd have to find that letter, but it was in December of 2014, if I'm not mistaken, that they would no longer be providing election services to the city of Nogales.
And did the county board supervisors take action on that?
No.
I don't believe I've seen any record of that whatsoever.
So they can't illegally to give direction to the county manager?
That might be a point of discussion.
Something the newspaper could probably look into.
You read Friday's newspaper, there was an article in there.
Okay, so, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.